What's going on, guys? Welcome back to... Oh my god, what is that? Sorry about that, guys. I was not expecting such a huge truck to be on the loading screen, but Polyphony deciding to troll us once again by picking one of the biggest vehicles in the game on one of the itty-bittiest, tiniest, smallest track. And you can see right here it's a grid start, which is crazy, but you can see the photographers are not that impressed, as they are not really focusing on this monumental occasion here that's about to occur. But grid start here, P8 in the Toyota Tundras. I'm expecting a lot of carnage here as we are revving our engine right now, getting our 3, 2, 1. So here we go, boys and girls. 3, 2, 1, and away we go. So what is gonna happen here? You can see I'm looking every which way, looking left, looking behind, looking ahead of us, making sure that we are able to survive going into turn number 1 as we go onto the outside, sneak our way into the middle of the 6th place Canadian, and we are now promoted up into P6. As I gotta say, from what it was looking like on the grid, this was actually not that bad of a start. It was actually fairly clean, to be honest. Very shocked. So hats off to everybody here as the Brazilian is starting to swerve his way, trying to find a gap on the American going into turn number 2. So into turn number 2, a little bit of a lag spike there happening as the Brazilian just decides to kill the American, so it sends him right into the shot room. And we go into the inside of the Brazilian now as we are starting to get bullied here, going up the mountain for the first time in the middle of both of these cars. And somehow again we were able to survive it as we are now focusing on what is going to be a very tight section of the racetrack with just these big massive trucks. So again, not sure what Polyphony has been smoking the past couple of weeks, but whatever they're having, I gotta have some, because it has been so wacky, some of these races that they've been putting together, and I've been enjoying it. I've been here along for the ride. But trucks around Mount Panorama, you just never think about that for a daily race. But here we are doing the trucks around here as the Brazilian takes out another victim as the Argentinian goes slamming straight into the wall. We slam into the back of him, and I believe that is the 3rd or 4th victim that the Brazilian has taken out. So clearly not making any friends on this racetrack as we head down the hill onto the final corner of the mountain section. Just get absolutely smashed into the middle of the walls. It gets sandwiched in by the Canadian. And heading into the replay, you can see right here that we are side by side with T Slushy. Go a tad bit wide, and the Canadian decides to finish us off as he just slams us, sandwiches us into the corner. And now we are demoted back into 7. So almost on the position where we had started off at. Not looking too great right now, as you can see everybody else ahead is starting to pull away. But heading down the long back stretch here, heading into the final chicane, you can see just the hole that these trucks punch in the air as we get a really good run down the straight in the slipstream. And going into the chicane right here, everybody just misses the corner as they thought to themselves, we're racing in a truck, might as well go a little bit off-roading. And that was the result right there, as everybody, it looked like 3 or 4 trucks went into the grass and missed the corner as we head into the final corner now. So into the final corner, making a little bit of contact with the Canadian. Not sure if it was lag or what, but he just decided to go straight into the barrier, into the outside. And Slushy also followed him there too. So 2 cars off on the final corner, and now we are up into P5 as we are now on the final lap. I know, very quick, not that long of a race, only 2 laps around Mount Panorama. I think even Polyphony realized what they did and said, you know what, I think 2 laps around here is going to be just enough, because if we do 3 or 4, there's going to be trucks literally all over the infield and killing kangaroos left and right, because they're just going to be smashed up everywhere. So 2 laps I think was enough for this race, as I don't think I could handle carnage for 3 or 4 more laps around this racetrack. But as we head up into the mountain for the final time, we are just focusing our sights on the Brazilian and the Argentinian as they get a really bad entrance into that double left-hander, and look at how much time they lost to us. So things looking a little bit promising as we're just gaining a ton of time on them, but it's going to be very difficult to make the overtake due to the fact that this track is just so narrow, and it's going to be a very difficult task to just try to squeeze our truck inside a small gap and that's even if they allow us to get in there, as the Brazilian now smashed the Argentinian. Decided one time in the beginning of the race was not enough, decides to smash him once again. I think the Argentinian at this point just had it with the Brazilian, tries to take him out. Ghost is out, but down the hill part, you can see that the Brazilian and the Argentinian both smashed into the wall, and somehow in all that craziness we were able to get through it, but we get a 1 second penalty. So I don't know where we got that 1 second penalty. I think in just all the carnage that was going on down the hill with the Brazilian and Argentinian, we just accidentally corner cutted one of the corners, and this is the result here as we get a 1 second penalty, shift the truck to the grass to try to minimize the loss in speed. And now we have a storming 4th place T-Slushy catching up to us as we're just keeping an eye on the rear, seeing if we can avoid his monumental slipstream down this straight. As we head down to the chicane, we defend onto the inside into the corner. We're able to do so as we try to get a really great exit. Not the best exit. You can see on the mini map that Slushy gets a really good run. We're gonna defend the inside, just hold him off, switch back into the racing line, brake as late as we can, clip our apex, and that is going to be the end of the first race. So from P8 down to P7 off of the first lap, all the way up to podium. Couldn't get much better of a result than that, especially with all the carnage. But you guys are probably wondering what happened to the Brazilians. You can see he finished all the way in last place. So we're riding along with the Brazilians. This is after he made contact with the Argentinian. Slushy just had enough with his shenanigans, punts him into the wall. He gets stuck there, spins out, and then he tries to get back facing the normal direction, and in doing so he gets resetted, and he finished this race off in 12th place. So after that race, I thought to myself, you know, one race wasn't enough carnage. We have to go again and try to see if we can replicate the same result that we got on the first race. If we are starting once again in 8th place, we get our 3-2-1, and away we go as we get somewhat of a decent start. But it's basically 2x2x2x2 from this row all the way up, and heading into turn number 1, we don't get the same type of respect that we did on the race prior, as everyone just gets rammed off into turn number 1, and we have a Tundra on the grass going off-roading. So that's not the racing line mate that you want to be running down the straight, but you can see it just did not work out for him. He was on the grass, and he loses what I believe is basically all the positions, as I think he started off somewhere in the front. So poor stock car racer losing everything after the first stretch, and heading into turn number 2, you see that we just break a tad bit too early into this corner as we're trying to avoid carnage, and in doing so we actually lose 2 positions here as we lose it to Zas and Slushy. So up the mountain once again, we are just following along here and just riding along, just staying behind these guys, making sure that we don't go side by side into some of these corners. It could be very, very dangerous doing that, as you can get smashed into the wall and just lose a ton of position. And we let Zas right in front of us get back into the racing line and just give him a little bit of a bump so that he can speed up a little bit up the mountain. So this was actually the very first race that I had ran around this racetrack with these trucks. So if some of the gearing looks a little off or the braking looks a little bit off, you guys will understand why as we head down the mountain for the first time here, just making sure that we brake just enough to avoid making contact with the cars up ahead. Slushy just goes in a tad bit too hot, goes straight into the wall, makes contact with Zaz. Both of them make contact as we are able to just sneak in onto the inside, get a 2-for-1 deal right there, and we are now bumped up into 7th place position. So not too shabby of a run down the mountain. We were able to gain 2 positions on a spot where you really shouldn't be gaining any positions down the mountain, especially because of how tight it gets. But we are able to find ourselves in 7th and get into the slipstream of the 6th place American driver. So down the long straight as we head into the chicane for the first time here, we're just keeping an eye on Slushy. He's giving us plenty of room here as we head into the chicane. Spot a braking point right before the 100-meter board. You can see again, everyone just misses their braking point, goes very, very wide off the exit. We're gonna go off-roading here as we're gonna just go a tad bit across track limits, I guess, but we're in a truck, we can definitely do that as we get punted from behind into the final corner. Somehow we were all able to survive, but because of that momentum loss off of the exit of the corner, we lose 2 positions to Slushy and K-Dub, and Slushy just gives K-Dub a huge bump draft down the straight, and we get taken out once again into turn number 1. But again, luckily we're driving around in the trucks, because with the trucks you're able to get into the grass, and it really does not affect the speed that much as long as you're able to keep it out within 2 or 3 seconds. Once you get past that 2 or 3 seconds, or if you're on the straight like the driver was in the beginning of the race, you could just lose a ton of speed, and that can lead to, you know, a very bad time, because you're gonna get your tires dirty, and not only that, you're gonna lose a lot of top end speed. So we got very lucky that we were only off for about 1 or 2 seconds, but we were able to maintain our speed, and now we are facing right here in 6th place, so we are able to get around K-Dub, and we are now stuck right behind Slushy. So battle for 5th place is starting to ramp up here. As you can see up ahead, 4th and 3rd are still fighting with each other here, still you know, nose to tail, and that can be very, very interesting, because if both of them decide to just, you know, get a little rough with each other, maybe one of them could take each other out, and that'll be a free position for us. But we're just gonna ride along with Slushy and make sure that we hit our braking points where we need to. Again, this was our first race, so I needed to learn a lot on this race. As Slushy makes contact with the wall, heading down the mountain section, you can see the Argentinian just goes in with a tad bit too much speed. We almost lose it there as we go with a lot of speed as well, and luckily we were able to just control the truck just enough. We're able to get it woe down and not lose the back end. So in a very, very good spot here. We are in the slipstream of Slushy, but just get a tad bit of a bad exit down the straight now, as we are just within that 3/4 of a second magic zone to get the slipstream. But Slushy was just able to just squeeze out that extra 300ths of a second, and now we are out of that magical slipstream range. But we're able to kind of reel it back, so it's just kind of like a little bit of a tug of war. We're getting there, but we're losing. We're getting there, we're losing it. But into the final corner, we spot our braking point once again. Make sure we clip our apex. You can see a couple cars or trucks. I keep saying cars even though they're trucks. Go a little bit off into the grass, and someone up ahead actually gets a penalty, as it's going to be side by side with Stock Car Racer heading to the final corner. Stock Car Racer is able to just outbrake us, gets right in front of us, sneaks it through, and all that battling that we were doing into that final corner, we end up losing, as Stock Car Racer is able to get that awesome P-Steve, and we come home in P7. So lots of fun with these trucks. Again, I was just not expecting Polyphony to pull this out of their ass and put something so crazy, so ridiculous together, but it actually worked out. I have to applaud them that these wacky races that they've been doing for Daily Race A have been some of the best racing that I've done all month, actually the past couple months, as it's just been so wacky, and actually it just worked out so well that it's been really fun. So great to have some fun back into GT Sport. Let me know how you guys did this week with the Tundras and around Mount Panorama, but I'll leave it in the comments down below. If you guys really enjoyed the video, feel free to hit that like button and the subscribe button. It really helps out the channel when you guys do so. And if you guys want to follow me on the Twitters, Instagram, or even on Discord, you can find all those links in the description down below. And again, since you guys made it all the way to the end of the video, I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did, hope to catch you guys on the next one. Peace.